Morning, good morning. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Nice rainy day. I messed up my hair. Nice rainy day. Hope everybody's enjoying it. Oh boy. Another day, another day. Pushing forward. Trying to get through life and stuff. Just had a quick, quick little message. Um, in life, sometimes you make decisions with unforeseen consequences. And not necessarily detrimental, but can play a vital role in relationships, future friendships, old relationships, old bridges, old ties, and things like that. And at the time you may have not have considered what the repercussions could have been. But that doesn't mean that they're not there. That doesn't mean that they're not going to happen or that they're not going to exist, So, as I always say, you got to be mindful of what you do, the things you do, the things you say. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's not necessarily karma. I mean, it is karma, but it's not necessarily karma what I'm speaking about. I'm just saying, like, say you become partners with somebody. Y'all want to go into a business venture. A year after you met, a former colleague of theirs and had some business with that former colleague. What you didn't know is that former colleague's business was detrimental and was damaging to your new partner's business. Now, of course, you didn't know that. You couldn't have foreseen that. Maybe if you'd have did a little bit more due diligence and did a little bit more homework, you would have known that. But you didn't. You didn't take nothing of it. You just looked at it as a business opportunity, or at the time you needed the money, or just whatever the case may be. But it happened. Your new partner finds out about this and looks at you completely different now, and doesn't necessarily see you as that trustworthy because you didn't say anything, or how could you have chose to do business with this person? Regardless of doing business with me, your new partner is saying, how could you do business with that person? And in that person's eyes, in that guy's eyes, it takes away from your character. Now, you couldn't have known that, but sometimes that's just the way life is, It wasn't malicious. It wasn't on purpose. Sometimes the way that's how the dice is rolled. Sometimes that's the way the cards are played. You couldn't have foreseen that. You wouldn't have known that your paths would have crossed, but it did. And business may either continue or not, and it sucks because that's just the way it is. Sometimes there's no amount of sorries, there's no amount of well, I didn't know. It's no, because at the end of the day, that person's still going to have whatever viewpoint of you because of the new information that they have gathered. And if they choose to take business elsewhere or continue to do business, it's solely their decision. You do what you can do to mend whatever that needs to be mended, or you take it for what it is, and you let life play its course, because sometimes that's the only choice you have. You don't necessarily have a choice in the matter. You just got to let life play its course. And it sucks at times, because especially when you are trying to move better, when you legit or just it was something, so there was a business venture that happened, didn't necessarily work out, or it just was it happened and you keep it moving. It is what it is at this point, But unfortunately, like I said, you do have to always keep in mind that there can be unforeseen consequences from the things that you've done in the past. I've had things come back and bite me in my behind that I did years ago, and and the most common thing is with people that have unfortunately gone to jail and things like that. I'm sure anybody that have gone to jail and come out and tried to get a really good paying job. Don't get me wrong, this is not always the case. Some people, society or somebody they got, God, whatever, they give them a second chance and it works out for them. So that's great. But what we tend to read and what we tend to see is that people that made a mistake from years ago are paying for it 10, 20, 30 years later. And it's like, what do y'all want somebody to do? It's something that happened a long time ago, Or it's something that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just something that happened previously. It's not where you're at now. You're a different person now. You've grown since then. You're trying to move better. But as I said, sometimes you just have to take whatever life throws at you and let it play its course. Sometimes it's a good thing that consequence happened, because then it opens your eyes up to new things. Because now, going back to the example that I gave, now you as a business person see that, you know what, I do need to move more cautiously. I do need to be mindful of who I am conducting business with. So sometimes it's just a learning experience. And unfortunately, sometimes you got to deal with the the fallout from it is the lesson that you need to learn. Unfortunately, you lost a business partner there, but now you learned something. Now you've taken a lesson from it, and that's how you got to look at it at times. So, don't get too down, and don't beat yourself up too much when things come back and bite you in your behind, especially when you've grown since then, especially when you're in a better headspace. Sometimes sometimes you'll get residuals that come back, and ripple effects that'll come back and give you a good smack, Say, hey, remember when you did that? Hey, remember when you did this? Hey, watch how you moving. Hey, watch who you do business with. Whatever. You understand? So, deal with it, work through it, learn from it. That's the big one. Learn from it. And do what you can to move better as you go forward and as you grow. Okay? All right, y'all. Hope y'all have a good day. And take it easy.